Welcome to the world of Elia Learning. Today, we're going to discuss the story, The Last Lesson, written by the French novelist Alphonse Daudet. The Last Lesson is a story of regret and realization, set up in a village in 19th century France. The background. This story is set against the backdrop of the Franco-Prussian War of 1870-71, in which Prussia, led by Bismarck, defeated France. At that time, Prussia consisted of territories that today are the nations of Germany, Poland, and parts of Austria. As a direct consequence of the French defeat, the French districts of Alsace and Lorraine were ceded to Prussian control. The story captures the immediate impact of this political shift on the local population, specifically through an order from Berlin mandating that only German be taught in the schools of these districts, effectively banning the French language. This is the story of how that political shift reached the heart of a small village schoolroom. This story can be broken down into 7 key parts. Part 1. The Reluctant Student. Franz, a young boy, is running late for school and dreads being scolded by his teacher. Monsieur Hamel, his teacher, was set to question the class on participles, a subject Franz knew nothing about. For a moment he considers skipping school to watch the Prussian soldiers drilling in the open field, but finds the strength to resist and hurries on. Part 2. Ominous Signs. As Franz hurries to school, he notices a crowd gathered at the town hall bulletin board. For 2 years, every piece of bad news, lost battles, drafts, and orders from the commanding officer had come from that board. What can be the matter now? Franz wonders, not daring to stop. Though he doesn't stop, the town blacksmith calls out to him enigmatically, telling him he would get to school in plenty of time. Franz feels the blacksmith is making fun of him and arrives at Monsieur Hamel's little garden entirely out of breath. Part 3. The Unusually Quiet School. Arriving at the school, Franz expects the usual great bustle of opening desks and lessons, but finds the classroom as quiet as a Sunday morning. Peeking through the window, Franz sees his classmates already in their places, in Monsieur Hamel walking with his terrible iron ruler under his arm. To his surprise, Monsieur Hamel is wearing his fine Sunday clothes, a green coat, frilled shirt, and embroidered silk cap, which he normally wore only for inspections or prize days. However, the thing that surprises Franz the most is the sight of village people sitting on the back benches. He sees the old Hauser, the former mayor, the former postmaster, and several others. Everyone looks sad. Instead of scolding him for being late, Monsieur Hamel kindly invites him to his seat. Part 4. The Shocking Announcement. Then, in a grave and gentle tone, Monsieur Hamel makes an announcement. An order from Berlin directs schools to teach only German in Alsace and Lorraine, informs Monsieur Hamel. This was to be their last French lesson. Part 5. Regret and Realization. These words strike Franz like a thunderclap. He feels shattered. He feels a sudden, deep regret for neglecting his studies. His books, once a nuisance, now felt like old friends he could not give up. He realizes that the villagers are there to thank Monsieur Hamel for his 40 years of faithful service. Part 6. The Value of Language. During the class, Franz is called upon to recite the rule for participles but fails to do so. Rather than scolding him, Monsieur Hamel reflects on the general tendency of people of Alsace to put off learning until tomorrow. He blames not only the students, but also the parents and himself for prioritizing work or chores over education. Monsieur Hamel then delivers a passionate tribute to the French language, calling it the most beautiful and logical in the world. He urges his students to guard it, stating that when a people are enslaved, holding fast to their language is like having the key to their prison. The lesson that follows is filled with a rare, intense focus. Even the youngest children work in absolute silence as they copy pages inscribed with France, Alsace, France, Alsace. Franz is amazed at how well he understands the grammar lesson and realizes he has never listened so carefully before. Part 7. A Silent Farewell. Suddenly, the church clock strikes 12 and the trumpets of the returning Prussian soldiers sound outside. Monsieur Hamel stands up and tries to address the class. However, he is overcome with emotion and chokes up. Unable to speak, he turns to the blackboard, takes a piece of chalk, and writes in large words, Vive la France. That is, long live France. He leans his head against the wall and without a single word makes a gesture with his hand. School is dismissed. We will now explore the theme and literary devices used in the story. The theme. The main theme of the story is the importance of language and identity. The author attempts to instill in the reader the fundamental principle that one's culture and identity are linked to the knowledge of one's language. He concludes that as long as we know and cherish our language, we can never be imprisoned. Characters. The principal characters in the story are Franz and his teacher Monsieur Hamel. Setting. This story is set in the districts of Alsace and Lorraine in 19th century France. Metaphor. Metaphor is a figure of speech that shows analogy or likeness between two things. The metaphors used in the story are, what a thunderclap these words were to me. Franz uses this metaphor to describe the announcement of their last French lesson to a loud, abrupt thunderclap, indicating the shock the news created. The key to their prison. Monsieur Hamel explains that for an enslaved people, holding fast to their language is like having the key to their freedom. Simile. Simile is a figure of speech that compares one thing to another by using the words like and as quiet as Sunday morning. This simile contrasts the typical great bustle of the school with the unusual solemn stillness of the final day. Sitting quietly like ourselves. This describes the village elders in the back of the room, drawing a parallel between the children and the adults in their shared mourning. Like little flags. The new writing copies with France, Alsace are described as looking like flags floating in the classroom, symbolizing national pride.